I never thought I'd say this, but it's the year 2021, and we actually have a musical creator, an artist, who is not making us wait years for his album. Tyler, the Creator, today, in a few minutes, is dropping Call Me If You Get Lost. We've had various snippets of this, including a very fun skit, which gave us this great clip.
Are you fucking dumb?
From what we've heard, a little bit of a more, I guess, a step back in Tyler's sound, a little more back to the rap game. In terms of me with Tyler, the Creator, as a fan, I first heard of Tyler with Cherry Bomb. As a kid who really liked like heavy metal and rock and stuff, I was really a big fan of Cherry Bomb's sound, just how it hurt your ears at times, you know, especially with the title track. Flower Boy, as I matured, Tyler's sound, you know, changed, and when I heard Flower Boy, I was really hooked as a fan. Igor came out, and I'm like, all right, this guy, he's got it. So I think Tyler's probably at his most mainstream in terms of appeal and popularity. Of course, Igor did win a Grammy for Best Rap Album, which I still can't get over the oddness of that statement, but a lot of eyes are on this project. Tyler's got huge shoes to fill with Igor and how great of an album that was. I did go ahead and buy the little box set. I'm a vinyl guy, so I was a little disappointed that none of them came with a record, but vinyls are kind of, you know, delayed because COVID and everything, so I got the DVD. I was like, okay, I'll get a cassette. At least those are kind of cool. Those are sold out of large shirts, so had to get a DVD, or no, a CD, excuse me. No one uses those damn things anymore, but I got a CD. I got a little shirt. I'm sure I'm showing you guys on the screen, whatever, you guys don't care. I was shocked at the price, though. Very cheap. Thank you. I got a whole lot of red merch. $50 for a t-shirt. Thank you, Tyler, for giving us cheap merch that comes with a damn collective box, a poster, a t-shirt, and a physical copy of the friggin' DVD. I swear to God, this guy's awesome. We've been waiting for Travis Scott's Utopia. We've been waiting for Kendrick Lamar's new album. We've been waiting for Kanye West to drop Donda. We've gotten none of those things. The artists just leave us on the edge, waiting with no updates. Tyler, the Creator, getting down to business, released Lumberjack as a single, which was awesome. It released, of course, a few skits, like I mentioned, and a little snippet of What's Your Name. So I am very excited for this. I am very thankful that it just came out, and Tyler's not making us wait years. 16 tracks. This should be a whole lot of fun. We got features from Lil Wayne, Lil Uzi Vert, Pharrell Williams. You got Ty Dolla on this thing. So let's go ahead and give this damn thing a lesson. I feel so weird about this record. I don't know why. I don't have like cohesive words to describe how I feel. Very much a detachment from Igor and Flower Boy. Those elements were there, and we'll talk about that. I'm gonna do a track by track. I took notes here. I got what I thought about the songs and stuff, but I liked it. I did. It's going to take a lot more listens to fully understand the story that was there. I think if you're a fan of Tyler's older stuff, a lot of stuff like, I think like fans of Goblin and Wolf will really dig this shit. So the opening track, Sir Baudelaire, was more of an intro. You have DJ Drama as the narrator, and a lot of people I saw like not liking him. I freaking loved it. I loved it. He just, yo, ready, and it's like a hype factor to it. I liked it. I thought he played a great role as a narrator. He wasn't really a narrator, but he added a lot. He added that rap feel because, like I said, this is a detachment from Igor, and we'll get into that in a little bit. It's more, not like a mixtape, but I'll talk about it in a few. So what we're learning about this character, or this installment rather of Tyler, is that he's more cocky, he's more braggadocious. He's basically assumed his position in fame, and you're damn right he likes it. Right off the bat with track 2, Corso, the first official song, I would say, because first track was more of like an intro, Tyler kills it. The beat kicks in, it's rough, and he is immediately rapping, and it's just nasty, rough, like a rough delivery to it, and it really takes me back to like Yonkers and stuff. And I think rapping like he did here in this second song and the rest of the album, it really plays into and allows Tyler to really fulfill that character, Tyler Baudelaire being cocky, or Sir Baudelaire, whatever you want to say. While Baudelaire is evil, which he admits himself, and he has a big ego, he is vulnerable as well. I love the track, the third track, Lemonhead. It just, anytime there's horns in a song, I feel like it immediately takes it up a notch. I know in some cases it doesn't work, but like in this case, there's a few tracks with like just these loud, grandiose horns, and it adds a lot to this record. 42, Doug. Doug, I've never heard of him before, but his verse fit on this track. We're gonna see that's a common theme. Every verse someone has on this track, from a guest, a rapper, or an artist, it fits amazingly. Tyler really just he doesn't put someone in there for name value. He puts them in there if it fits the narrative, and I think that's really respectful. I popped huge when I heard Frank Ocean on that outro. I loved it being in the form of like a phone call, because obviously the voicemails were the big aspect of this album's rollout. And I must add, like while this is a rap style record, you do have those elements of like Flower Boy and Igor with a really soulful, like a jazzy even type of beat in this outro and on future songs that we'll get to. Track 4, What's Your Name? We heard this, a little snippet of it, or at least like I'd say half of it, in that video Tyler uploaded last week. Basically, this starts our plot. Now we know Sir Baudelaire, but now he's with this woman. He meets her. It's love at first sight. He's like literally fantasizing. Like, what was the line? I want to watch all these old indie movies with you or whatever. So he's already fantasizing about this woman that he already met, but shocker, she's in a relationship. So there's our conflict. Also very shocked that the Young Boy verse, it fit perfectly again. A lot of people were worried about that. There's nothing to be worried about. He actually did pretty well here, so good job. Now, Lumberjack, our already released single, basically, I'll talk about it to smooth the story out, talking about his materialistic goods. It's almost like when he heard the news that she was taken, he immediately got into his ego and started being like, well, I'm better. And then he starts bragging about having a Rolls Royce, and all that. Just a power ego stroke, kind of. I don't know why I keep going like this. I'm in a good mood. This is a great record. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, I wrote in my notes here perfectly, almost in defense after finding out his dream girl is taken. It's an abrasive and a dark beat. You guys have already heard it. And yeah, it sounds even better. I love how the whole DJ drama like slows the track down, like, hold up, now you're ready. I just love that stuff. Like, that's so fun. Track 6, Hot Wind Blows. The travel aspect is kind of played up here. It seems as if this story is like in France. It's said a lot in this record, like French, France. Tyler mentions like Michelin tires in this song. And then Lil Wayne had a verse on this, and it was awesome. Track 7, Massa, another great track, a highlight I would say off this record. It really shows how like self-reflective and honest this character in Tyler's discography is. He's literally like, it's very open, and we'll see that even more down the line in the future tracks we're going to talk about here. And even going back and calling back to like, Wolf, Yonkers, and I think they mentioned Cherry Bomb in this track too. Basically, he's coping with his lost love by buying all these things because he has the stroke now as a celebrity and an artist and a creator to spend some money. I just love the line here, like going back to him buying materialistic goods because he doesn't have love, and he's kind of like third wheeling. Buy more wheels when I'm third wheeling. I thought that was great. Track 8, Run It Up. We're seeing again more confidence and more self-reflection. There's a lot of like believe in yourself type of aspects on this record, and I know that he's kind of like the bad guy in this situation, but it's interesting because he kind of becomes a sympathetic figure as the story gets told more and more. I've never heard of this guy, Tizo Touchdown. I don't know if it's Tizo or whatever, but I really liked him. He had like a fun little voice aspect to him in a way that like, Playboi Carti plays with his voice. That's kind of what I got from him. I thought he was pretty good here. Track 9, Manifesto, kind of gets into more real world stuff, and it kind of feels like, interestingly enough, like I hear a lot of people like speculating on who this album's about, like who is this love who's taken by someone. And it's interesting because this is like, in Tyler's discography, a lot of the albums take place in like, not in like a fantasy land, but a different world than the world we're living in today. He doesn't really, talk about current issues as much. Like in Igor or Wolf, he'll relate and say people who are famous, but he never directly like addresses issues in the way that he does on this record. He talks here about the common issues like the art of canceling someone and like how he's done all these things that he should be canceled for already. And then he also had like, talking about the BLM movement and everything like that. Just common world occurrences that it's pretty weird to hear Tyler talk about in this tone. Track 10, something that all the Igor fans and everything are going to love, especially the Flower Boy gurus. It's basically separated into two parts. The first one's Sweet. Tyler's basically with his dream girl. We know now that she's been cheating on her dude with Tyler. And the intro sees them kind of detailing how she's not going to get caught when she returns back to him and stuff, like getting out of a cabin, all that sorts of stuff. This is like the only track that's non-rap intensive, so if you're a fan of Igor or Flower Boy, on their own, eat your heart out. Part 2, I thought you wanted to dance, while they were sneaking around and stuff. Now this girl, she's kind of hinting at, while they're having a great time together and, feeling like 200%, now they're kind of getting to the point where Tyler feels that she's sending these waves that, like, she doesn't really feel like he totally loves her, and she doesn't want to fully commit. She doesn't want to dance, as the track's title says. Tyler fully dove into this relationship while she's kind of on her way pulling out. Ultimately, we see that she chooses her boyfriend over Tyler, and like I said, this is where, Sir Baudelaire kind of becomes that sympathetic villain. Track 11's kind of like, not like an interlude, but it's like a little break track with just I think it's Tyler's mom just kind of talking and giving insight on what his childhood was like, with her kind of like defensive take on her son. Track 12, Rise, exclamation point, is also another great track off this record, one of my favorites. The beat's amazing on this one. He's basically begging for the girl to stay after she said, basically, I'm committing to my boyfriend, this isn't right. There's the whole track about, you're not the only N-word in Paris or whatever. That's not a Kanye diss. If you're going to diss Kanye, you'd have better lines, especially Tyler, the Creator, who's awesome lyrically. I know I'm a Kanye channel, so I figured I'd just comment on that. Not a diss. At least I didn't take it that way. Basically, as Tyler kind of sinks into his newfound fame, he attempts to forgive this girl who broke his heart, even though it's a tricky situation because he got himself in this relationship that was already going on. Sir Baudelaire's ego is kind of trying to hide his hurts, but as much as he says, he's trying to forgive her and, and I have these Rolls Royces, you could see with the outro that he really doesn't want her to go. On Blessed, Tyler kind of reflects on what he actually has in life and why he shouldn't be sad about this girl leaving. He mentions Camp Flog Gnaw, commercials he's done with the Coca-Cola stuff, and then even a movie coming soon? Tyler has this one line that I'm going to pick up on later when we talk about my final thoughts. Come get lost with me, come see the world. And then also, he just kind of, he mentions how he also fell in love, but then it's like weird. But he's talking about all these real world things that happen. He runs Camp Flog Gnaw. He did these commercials, and allegedly he has a movie in the works. But then also mentioning falling in love, which is the narrative of this story. It's kind of is this a real world thing? It's very interesting. Track 14, Juggernaut, is just another amazing banger. Lil Uzi Vert kills it on this track. I'm a big fan of him. And then also having Tyler and Pharrell Williams back. Yes! Pure fire. I said here there's no really relation to the underlying story, but it's just fire. It really is. It's a great track. Track 15, Wilshire. I don't know how to say it. Basically, this is kind of a whole reflection of his relationship with this girl. This really ties the bow on the story that's kind of on and off in this track. It's about 8 minutes long. It's a long track, but it revisits the whole thing about him visiting her and seeing her for the first time and falling right in love. We learn that the boyfriend that he is helping this girl cheat on is actually his friend. But the good intentions of that's your girl, bros before hoes and all that stuff, gets kind of lost in translation just because he thinks so much of this girl and he's so attracted to her. I wrote in my notes directly, this is the story here. Although Tyler has literally everything he could want in the world, all the cool cars, the cool clothes, everything, nothing kind of relates to his demand, his want, and almost his need of this woman. It's a really cool beat too to fit this reflective nature of this track. It's even interesting because he says how she prefers Tyler, but it just feels wrong to cheat on her boyfriend, so ultimately she picks the boyfriend. Tyler takes a hard L, but a very emotional and vulnerable state Tyler is in here on this 15th track. After calling it off, they're friends now, but the everlasting loneliness serves as a reminder to Tyler. This is where I said right at the end, there's a few things Tyler said that, this is real. Whatever he's talking about here actually happened in real life. It's crazy. This feels like a legitimate thing. This isn't some story Tyler made. He says he's normally private about, this side of his life, because fans can be obsessive and stuff, but he feels like he has to express his emotions. I was like, wow. Track 16 is an outro. It's called Safari. It's really a grand exit to this story. No resolution, but heartbreak. But in a weird way, it feels like really epic and beautiful. It's a very weird way to end this album. And just like that, DJ Drama, we gone! And that is Call Me If You Get Lost. My final thoughts about this record is basically this. If you're a fan of Wolf, Goblin, or any of Tyler's like rap intensive work, give this a listen. You're gonna love it. This is through and through a hip hop record 100%. It has those teases with the elements of Igor and Flower Boy, but I almost feel like, you know, in a way that Kanye rebelled against the system when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was so like well received. This is Tyler's way of going back to that rap style after winning a Grammy and getting snubbed. You know, I know that's like that happened in 2019, but isn't it kind of ironic that Tyler has this beautiful album that should have been like, to many people, kind of like pop or just overall album of the year? It's really hard to put it in one genre, Igor of course, but you know, he got snubbed and it got called a rap album and he won rap album of the year, and it's almost like now he's like rebelling in a way and writing a full rap album. He's kind of snapping back to his old roots to tell this story. Like, you know, this isn't a full concept album like Igor, yet it still has the story. And I see a lot of people complaining because, oh, Tyler doesn't reference the story on every track and it's kind of sloppily told. Not everything can be Igor, and I know that that's his masterpiece, and literally it's in my top 5 records of all time in terms of my favorite albums. Okay, I love Igor, but not, you know, we have to remember that it doesn't define Tyler as a creator. It doesn't. It is an amazing record. It's a highlight of his discography, perhaps to many his best album, but it does not define who he is as an artist. And unlike many, I love DJ Drama on this. I thought he added that, you know, rap old school feel to it. You heard him say it in the outro. I don't know if, you know, maybe you guys, I got early access to this album, so in the outro, DJ Drama basically says Gangsta Grills, or he references that. Those are basically mixtapes utilized by the likes of, you know, he was on this record, Lil Wayne and stuff, in a way to not have this story and not have an album that tells a story, but rather just go crazy with verses and crazy beats and just rap and have a really good, just ambitious rap record. And I think this whole style was really foreshadowed by the last voicemail us fans got before this album dropped, with Tyler doing that freestyle. Ultimately, the theme of Call Me If You Get Lost isn't to go break up an already established relationship. It isn't to chase your dreams with a dream girl. It's to chase nature, chase life, and chase beauty. It's important to note that like this record kind of, I would say, was written during lockdown most likely, and the theme kind of is go see the world. You can never truly be lost if you're happy where you are. So after being locked up, you know, at home for so long, go explore, go travel, go have fun. But if you ever get lost, you know who to call.